Welcome to another episode of Clever Dick's podcast. In this episode, we talk to Jeannine Goddard. Jeannine is a regular swimmer like most of us, and I think she would be the first person to say she's not the fastest swimmer, but she's achieved numerous of her own goals. We talk about her learning to swim where she grew up in Zimbabwe and then taking up swimming again in New Zealand, training for and doing an ice mile, and some of her other swimming achievements that she's done. She's a lovely person to talk to. We really enjoyed this interview, and I'm sure you will too. So, welcome to another Clever Dick's podcast. In this podcast, we're going to interview Jeannine. Welcome, Jeannine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, we kind of always start with a little bit of a chance for you to tell us your story and how did you get into swimming, and what does swimming mean to you, and what's your swim story, Jeannine?
I've swum all my life since tiny in Zimbabwe. I swam with clubs and things like that because Zimbabwe's landlocked, and
amongst other things,
yes. Yeah, there we go. Coming to New Zealand, I started swimming in about 2000. I think my first swim event was 2007, and that was the harbour crossing, and that was quite an interesting one because I'd been training in a pool, and I'd quite comfortably doing 2-3 Ks. That was fine. I thought, I can do this. Love the ocean, always loved the ocean. And I went along to Hayden's clinics. He used to do ocean clinics.
Yeah.
And he had a couple of ocean clinics. It was when he did those, and then went on to have a race simulation.
Oh, yeah.
And the race simulation was around that little island thing at Herne Bay.
Oh, Watchman's Island.
Yeah.
That's
And I thought, that's fine. It was a good lead up. The harbour crossing was a week later. And I went out and bought myself a wetsuit. Never had a wetsuit before. Yes, go and get myself my first suit from T3.
Yeah.
And got into the swim, and I got about 200 metres into the swim, and I had an absolute panic attack. Could not breathe and absolutely freaked out to the point where the lifeguards came along and, "Are you okay?" I was like, "No, I've got to get out." They said, "Oh, can you swim back?" "No, I've got to get out." And it was like, how ridiculous is this? You
I can't remember you saying that.
What's that?
I can't remember you saying that to me.
You weren't the lifeguard. I'm sure you weren't.
I was a lifeguard on that swim, but
oh my god! I don't know who it was. Yeah, it was really embarrassing, and of course that just knocked my confidence for six. So I got out, had a big cry, and I remember talking to, I think it might have been Hayden's dad that was there, and he turned around and said to me, he said, "Oh, it happens to lots of swimmers. The first time they're wearing a wetsuit." And I put a message out on the information page and said, "Okay, guys, this is what I want to do. Swims in a week's time, and I need to know, this is what happened. Am I dreaming, or am I actually going to be able to do this? Or should I just laugh it off?" And they came back, and the one person said to me, "You've got two options, and neither of them's pulling out." And they said, one is you ditch the wetsuit and you just go without, because lots of people go without a wetsuit.
Yep.
Or you stay in your wetsuit and you just spend as much time as you can getting comfortable, because that's the problem, you're not used to it. So I started just playing around in the water and just trying to get as comfortable as I possibly could. And a week later I did the harbour crossing.
That's
and I finished
awesome.
it. But it was just, it was just one of those things, and I see so many people when they start out with wetsuits and they're like, "Oh, it's so tight, I can hardly breathe."
That's claustrophobic, eh?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously you throw a couple of waves in there and a little bit of, people swimming around you and over you, and it becomes quite daunting, right?
Yeah, it
if you're
does.
not used to it, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Sitting on the side of these races with some T3 and all of that stuff, with our little pop-up stores there that I used to be involved with, every single race I'd watch the surf crew pull out a couple of people literally within the first 100-200 metres of the start for those reasons, right? And they're always fit, strong, healthy. It's just a panic attack, right?
Yeah.
Or just not used to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the water temperature just gets to them. Haven't done enough in the sea, or Something like that, yeah.
So did the IRB like fly up to the beach and throw you on the beach in front of all the spectators and make it look like really embarrassing, or did they?
No, they just did
politely?
it very nicely and politely, and I think they probably chucked me out about 100 meters after they picked me up. Basically, you can walk in now.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That's cool. I was just wondering, growing up in Zim, because I also grew up in Zim, have you got any memories of like learning to swim or your first swim teacher or
God.
anything?
Oh, yeah. So, two things. One was apparently when I was about 3, I nearly drowned, and I don't remember that, obviously. So my mum was quite surprised that I'm so hooked on swimming.
Like at home at a pool?
At home at a pool,
yeah.
yeah. I was supposedly following the family in to go into the house, and my mum got inside and went, "Where's Jeannine?" and came outside, and my little fingers were poking up out of the water, and my mum reckoned I was literally within touching distance of the wall, but
Couldn't reach
it, so hands up. And then
Jeez, that's scary.
first swimming teacher was at one of the public pools, and he had this knack of teaching by throwing the kids in, and I hated it. Oh my God, I was absolutely traumatized. Could not swim like that with him. And then I got a good one, and that was cool. And I was all good. So yeah.
So like walked up to the side of the pool, literally picked you up by your armpits.
No, we had
and threw you
to.
in.
I remember being sitting on the side of the pool, and wouldn't get in because I was too scared, and just in you go. So yeah, no, not a good way to learn.
No, it's not. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, Zimbabwe's got a history of stuffing a lot of things up, right? So.
Which was ridiculous.
Hey, where's Chris Froome from? The cyclist.
No, he's
You
from
can't say Chris Froome.
Chris Froome.
Damn.
He's from Kenya.
Kenya. Always get confused.
Different country.
Talk to me about how you went from putting your little fingers up in the pool in Zimbabwe to panic attacks in a wetsuit to what I guess was some sort of midlife crisis and saying, "Yo, I'm keen. I'm going to give this ice swimming thing a go." Like what? How did that happen? What made you decide to do ice swimming?
So I think I've done a number of like different challenges. I really enjoyed distance swimming.
Yep.
And I found that pretty cool.
Yep.
When I first started swimming with the kippers, I used to literally go wetsuit, and then come winter I would, this is before I met them, I'd swim winter and then summer, and then I'd be in a pool in winter.
Yeah.
Met them and they were like, "Oh no, we swim through winter." So I did a couple of years with a wetsuit through winter.
Yeah.
Can do that, that's cool, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then I thought there were some other people that were swimming without wetsuits, so I thought, okay, well, I'm sick of having to pull my wetsuit on, I'll try it out, and really liked it. And then it was just a physical challenge. Okay, right, I'm going to see how long I can stay without it and what I can take. And I didn't seem to have as bad a reaction as some people did.
Yeah.
Like there's some people that start shivering in summer. And
There's one over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just one of those things. I just thought, I'm gonna give it a try. I honestly thought it was a bucket list thing, and I would just give it a go and see what happens. And I'm hooked.
So that was your very first year, St. Bathans.
Yeah.
You came down, and prior to that you had done no ice swimming.
No.
Right. So just for the listeners' reference, ice swimming, as most people will know, is sub 5 degrees Celsius.
Yep.
It's in a lake, and the objective is, I guess, ultimately to do a mile.
Mm-hmm.
So within the 5 days that we were down there, your very first swim would have been at 250 meters.
Yeah, that was a training swim.
Yeah.
Well, the warm up. Yeah.
250. The next day was a 500.
Yeah.
Things start getting a little bit more real. Then there was a 1,000 meters, and generally, from all the newbies that were there, a lot of the guys called it quits after the kilometer. Some of them didn't make it, some of them did make it and said, "Hey, that's enough for me, I'll come back next year." You, with the low IQ and bad company that you keep, said, "Hey, I'm keen, I'm going to do the mile." Right now, I'm going to be very honest with you, I was quite nervous for you.
Yeah.
Right, purely because I'm a little bit soft. Right?
Yeah.
And I can go down and I can do an ice swim, but I've almost got just enough in my reserves, both physically and mentally, to sort of crack one, maybe two, and then I'm done. Right? Then I'm out. So by having to go down and doing a 250, a 500, a 1000, so mentally, physically preparing, swimming, being depleted, recovering, and then getting yourself in check to do it again the next day, I was nervous for you with that mile, right? So tell us, what was the experience like? How did you feel after the 250? Was it easy? Because you were laughing and smiling all the way. It must have been.
No, I'd say the 250 was actually really hard.
Yeah.
Was it hard? I can't remember whether it was the 250 or the 500, but it was one of the really short ones that I found incredibly painful.
Yeah.
I like my fingers.
Yeah.
I was in agony, and all I could think of was, oh my God, what have I done? Like, if this is what this feels like, how on earth is the next one going to do? Who do I think I am? The 1K,
and that's what everybody's thinking.
Yeah,
You think you're alone, but everybody's thinking the same thing.
It was quite a it's quite daunting, especially when you see people who are really good swimmers and who are really experienced ice swimmers.
Yeah.
Having a hard time.
Yeah.
And you're a newbie and you go out there with all the enthusiasm in the world, and you just think, you know, you don't have a flippin' chance, mate. You're just dreaming.
I mean, the first time I observed ice swimming, we went to the lake outside of Christchurch, and it was just like the royalty of New Zealand open water swimming. And I was quite, I don't know if humbled. I was just like a little fanboy. I thought, these guys can do it, but I can't.
Yeah,
and. Yeah.
I think the big thing for me was that I didn't.
Yeah,
I'm gonna remember that one.
Yeah, not for you. No. There was the other people.
I think what probably helped me was that I actually didn't really know what I was getting into. I think I had read up. I know I'd read up on risks and all that kind of thing, but I think quite honestly, the hype and how much it takes out of you and all that sort of thing, I think because I was so new, I didn't really take it on board, and I think that helped because it was my low IQ. It just didn't know what you're getting into, so you just flip and do it.
Yeah. Okay. And I am assuming, and I'm going to just fly their flag a little bit, right? But the company and the people that were there,
amazing.
For me was humbling is not the word, but it was really what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiring. Yeah, everybody you turned to was
and supportive.
Yeah.
Wanting to help you, wanting to know about your swim, giving you advice, fetching your togs. Like I can remember before one of my swims, I can't remember which one it was, but I'm sort of part of the organising crew.
Yeah.
And looking after, safety and everything. And I realised that I had got down there and I didn't bring my tow float down from the camper van. And you're like, oh my God, then you panic, right? And I had like 4 people saying, hey, here's a tow float, don't stress, all good. So I think in that environment, and I suspect I've done some ice swimming in South Africa as well, and I've followed a couple of the guys, whatever, Instagram, via YouTube, via phone calls and conversations with Ice Swimming International. The community all seems super engaged with each other, right? Because I think they know, hey, this is pretty hectic, we need to watch out for each other, and if I look after you, maybe you'll look after me type thing, right? But yeah, I mean, so you came back from that, a glass or 2 of wine in the evening?
Just a glass.
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
So it was, I'm not going to swim, have a glass of wine. Yeah, cool, I'm in for tomorrow, right?
I don't think I even thought that though, Duncan. I think it was when you sign up, that's it, you're doing it. So you just get out there and do it. But I think, like you said, the people are... The people there were what did it for me. There was such an incredible group of people.
And your daughter was there, right?
I know. It was
How was that, having her, on the sidelines, shouting and cheering and jumping up and down? She was running up and down the lake.
It was just amazing. She was super, super special, and it was was just, I think everything, the whole atmosphere there was just this whole kind of, I think because there was so much vulnerability in what we were doing, like it's a very risky event, I guess, in some ways. And it's like there's no room for pride, there's no room for modesty.
Yes. You've got just, five people helping you get undressed and redressed at the end. Yeah,
it felt like everyone was wearing their heart on their sleeve, and you could feel and you could see so much emotion in people. You know, people really wanting to achieve something, whatever that might be. And it wasn't a case of I've got to do it in this time or I want to beat so and so. It was everyone's personal goal and what you wanted to achieve, and you could feel it. And when someone didn't, it was almost like everybody felt it. It wasn't just that person, and everyone was rooting for the person that was in the water. You know, you just wanted them to get there.
Who was your buddy helping you get ready for the mile?
My daughter.
Was it your daughter? Okay, cool.
I was just like, no, it was my daughter.
Okay, and so she would have had your towel over you, walking you down to the lake's edge.
Yes.
What goes through your head when you strip down that towel and sort of walk into waist deep into water that was probably, what was it, 3.8, 4 degrees? Yeah.
4 point, yeah.
What are you feeling at that stage?
Please God, don't let me have to get pulled out.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to have to get pulled out.
Yeah.
I think just wanting to be able to do this, just wanting to achieve it.
Yeah.
And I put all my trust in the safety on the water.
I know those guys, and that's a big mistake. Don't do that again.
Well, who's on the boat with you, Jeannine?
I don't know. No, I think, you know, everyone said how much of a mental thing it was. And it was like, well, I'm just going to trust that these guys will pull me out if I need to get pulled out.
That safety...
Is that a mistake?
No, look, that safety crew have a lot of experience with event lifeguarding, as well as a fair amount of swimming with, experience with marathon swimming. But there was a lot of newness for ice swimming. But we had drilled them and prepped them as a team. So, for example, Di, the medic, and Sue and Roger, and all of us we had meeting after meeting after meeting with regards to that little team. And I don't know if you noticed, but in between swims and in between sessions, they were practicing drills
I was watching
and stuff,
that.
right? Just trying to train and teach each other how to do things. But I've almost got to this stage now where if that crew or that amount of experience, if that's not available, I would be very cautious with regards to just going and doing an ice mile. Right? Like I'm wanting to know that all I need to do is focus on putting one arm in front of the other, and if shit hits the fan, hey, somebody's got me, right? Okay, so that swim was, if I recall, 500 meters out. Then you swam 500 meters back, so that's length number 2. And then you went out for whatever it is 300. To make a mile, 300 and whatever, and then back. So it was 4 lengths, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so length number 1. Talk us through that, if you remember. It was a little while ago, but yeah.
Okay, so going out was just like settling into it, and this is kind of the start. And part of the way down, I think I'd passed the second buoy, heading to the third, and the boat kind of bumped into me.
Sorry.
Wasn't you? I don't think it was you.
I don't
think it was you. Somebody bumped into me slightly. And I remember Di saying to me, because I thought, oh shit, sorry.
No,
I remember thinking, they're stopping me. And I was just gutted, because all I could think of was, I haven't even finished the first K, and I'd already done a K before. So it was like,
So were they trying to keep you on a line? No?
No. So Di just said to me, keep swimming. So I did. I kept swimming. And then I realised that I was by myself. And I didn't realise that there was stuff going on in the background where they'd had to swap boat crews.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea. It was just like, well, they told me to keep swimming, so I'm just going to keep swimming. And it was actually quite an amazing feeling. It was a really kind of a peaceful feeling between that second and the third buoy, because it's the bottom end of the lake. And it was like there was nobody around me. It was just me in the water. And I could see my daughter on the one side because she was following me down. She told me afterwards that she was having kittens because there wasn't a boat right next to me. And then a little while later I had a boat back to me, and it was all good, and turn around, yay, I've made it to that one and start heading back in again.
Yeah.
So,
that's
that
right,
was
because we
firstly.
finished with you, didn't start with you. Yeah.
And so, I mean, do you feel super strong in the first length and you get slowly depleted and like your stroke rate slows down, or are you just super consistent and
Well, I was told
just carrying on?
I was told that my stroke rate stayed the same all the way through, and they kind of questioned the guys on the boat. Maybe that's just because I'm consistently slow.
Same as me, right? I'm also just pretty plod away, and that's it. Yeah.
I like, I don't like going fast, because I know that if I try and push, my fast actually makes me slower.
Yep.
And it also stresses me out.
Yep.
And all I was trying to do was just try and relax into the water and almost enjoy it, even though we were supposed to not enjoy it.
Almost enjoy it. Yes.
Almost enjoy it, and because if you can get into that rhythm, and I think that's why the shorter distance I didn't like, because it was too short to actually get into it, and I find with any open water swims I'm in a bit of a state until I get into a rhythm, and so all I was trying to do was just try and get in a rhythm. And
so buoy 2 is then 1 kilometre.
The second one you rounded,
Yep. So you're now sort of back at the starting point.
Oh yeah.
Right. So you're coming past the 1 kilometre mark, and you're on your way back out again.
Oh, that was super cool.
For me, mentally, that's tough, right? Because you're right at the finish, you're like, oh my god, I've got to go again, right? So you enjoyed that.
I was actually, I thought that was going to be really hard.
Yep.
But I was really wrapped, because I thought that if there was any chance of them worrying about my stroke and all that kind of thing, or worrying about me, they would pull me out then.
Okay.
And if I wasn't comfortable, then I could get out then. But I was actually feeling quite strong at that point. And so it was just like, that's awesome. I'm kind of past the hard part, and off I go again. I was wrapped. Actually, I really enjoyed that. Yep. And I think once I got past there and started to head out again, I think it started to get hard.
Okay.
That was when I think it started to feel quite real.
Yep.
And
the cold's like sunk into your bones at that stage, and you're probably feeling a little heavier in the water, maybe.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, the sensations that you got swimming, I'm sure you guys would have felt the same thing, but I actually quite enjoyed the different feelings when you're in the water. Like, I remember feeling almost like needles hitting my back, or flames coming out of me. It's such a weird feeling. I'm sorry.
So I didn't have that.
it just, I think it was because, like, the more you swim, it was just like the water splashing on you felt like needles.
It's amazing. I think everybody has just got such different sensations, and it's just the way that you're going to describe it mentally to yourself.
So for me, just on that note, when I started with this whole thing, I got given some advice, and I can't remember who it was, but it could have been Ryan Stramrud, who was basically like, we're all aching and paining, and it's shit for everybody, right? And what you've got to do is, you can't fight the cold, right? You're not going to beat it. And his advice was something along the lines of, you've got to just accept that cold into your body. Just, it is what it is. Accept it in, put it in a little black box, lock up the box and carry on swimming. So in my head, while I'm swimming, I'm consciously just like, hey, just bring it on, let me like absorb it. And then once it's absorbed, it's a case of saying, all right, now we can swim, right?
And I had a different kind of thing. So I just, as I went along, because we're all nervous, right? Especially when you're doing your first sort of longer one.
Yeah.
And I would just try every minute. I would just do a 5-point check.
Yeah.
Am I still kicking?
Yeah.
Am I keeping my stroke rate right? Am I breathing properly? How does my core feel? And then how do I feel? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm fine. And then I just turn the mind off and swim, and then try to, okay, it's about time, and I just do those checks, because your hands are sore and your feet are sore and everything, but is your stroke, look, I don't have a great stroke, but it is as good as I can make it, right?
I think the three of us together are all pretty shit swimmers, right?
I don't know, no, you guys, at least you guys are faster. If you think you're shit, at least you're faster.
You know what? We're there, we're doing it, right? We're moving forward.
I had a girlfriend of mine who was swimming with me in squad, and she turned around and she said to me, you and I are diesel engines. She said, we just keep going.
That's cool.
So we're not fast, we just keep going. And it was like, yeah, that's me.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, so get to the end of the mile, right? And you did a couple of strokes of butterfly, if I recall, right?
Oh no, that was peer pressure. Well, it was sort of, there'd been a couple of people who had done it before, and it was just, I thought, this is super cool. And in my head, when I started the swim, I thought, you know what? If I've got the energy at the end of it, I'm going to flip and do butterfly.
Yes.
I mean, I can't do butterfly at the best of times. I'm so bad. So I mean, how bad can it really look when you're bad anyway? So yeah, I wanted to give it a shot, and it was awesome. That was
amazing.
It was a really cool ending, and having the people on the shore and stuff like that. Both when I rounded it that first time and at the end, the cheering and stuff like that was so. It just helped keep you going. Yeah. It was like that. Just makes it all worthwhile. The fact that you know those people are. They want it as badly as you do. Yeah. And it was such an amazing feeling.
So in your head, you finished now, and in your head you're feeling perfect, but obviously your body feels otherwise and is doing other things. Did you cope standing up and walking, or did you need a bit of help?
I think, if I remember rightly, I was okay.
Yep.
I remember with all my swims, somebody amazingly took my toe float off, and I never felt a thing. Yep. Probably because your butt was numb and everything was numb.
Yep.
And the same thing happened there. It was also quite different when I came in, because we had the helicopter around.
Yes.
And
oh yes.
So when I was
that happening on your swim?
Yes.
That's right.
Well, yeah.
So when
boats. That was why they swapped the boats over. So when I was coming in, it was one kind of freaky feeling was that I heard this sound when I was coming back in on the second round, and it sounded like a plane, and I remember thinking, oh my God, am I hallucinating?
There's fire coming out my back.
There's the fire coming out of my back, and there's the sound of this plane like landing, and I thought, that's impossible.
Yeah.
And when I realised that it wasn't going anywhere, I was like, okay, well, they're not pulling me out, so maybe I'm not hallucinating. I must be okay. I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And somebody on the boat I think it might have been you, Jim, or you and Sarah and stuff, were telling me to kick.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, right, I can hear them, so I must still be there, so I'll just kick. But yeah, when I got out, they kind of bundled me into one of the tents, because I don't know whether you're supposed to. I think maybe after the mile or something, they normally take you straight into first aid tent, but this time around they couldn't because they were busy in there. So they took me into the changing tent, and then when the helicopter was going to take off, I had everybody on top of me, holding me down and holding the tent down and stuff on the outside because the tent was lifting. So it was all very exciting, and it was all kind of happening, and cool, yeah.
And what's your recovery like? I know. So, for example, a friend of ours, Nev. Do you know Nev?
Yeah.
So of course you know Nev. Nev, from what I recall on his cold swims, he wanted to get dry and warm and then move.
Yeah.
He wanted to walk around and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas me on the other side, I want to just get dry and I want to lie down and I just want like 1,000 blankets on me and I want to shiver and cry like a baby and just leave me alone for a little bit and then I'll be okay. You swear and get all aggressive and
only if I'm picturing
new swear words I learned coming out of your potty mouth. What's your recovery like? What do you find works for you? Yeah?
I definitely like to move.
Yep.
I don't like the idea of lying down.
Yep.
I find that when I get cold, I get quite nauseous.
Yep.
And I find that actually
that's interesting. Hey, that's actually a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I find that like by moving around, it's giving me focus on other things. And I don't know, maybe it helps the blood get moving and stuff like that. I do feel a bit lightheaded, so they wouldn't let me walk around to start with, but they would let me sit up. So I kind of sat in a chair, and my daughter was just about on top of me, which was really sweet. She was trying to help me sip my drink.
She had tears in her eyes.
She was
it was an emotional afternoon.
Oh, it was incredible. It was just so special. And yeah, just I think as soon as I was allowed to stand up, I wasn't allowed to leave the tent, but as soon as I was able to stand up, I was moving around because I don't like.
So the medics in the tent, they would have taken your core temperature on the way in, which you probably wouldn't have remembered.
No.
And then, to my knowledge, what they're doing is they're monitoring that core temperature.
Oh yeah.
And as long as it's on the rise and got to a level that's pretty cool, then they'll let you out.
Jeez, I can't remember that. They wouldn't have been able to take my core temperature. I was shivering so much, there's no ways they get close to me.
They put a thermometer up your bottom to measure yours, don't you remember that? It was that big 1 foot long one. Yeah. Don't you remember
I had that many cold, so there was no way something like that.
Duncan, you know something I don't. I didn't have any of that. Promise you.
It's okay. So some of that might get edited out.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, I'm only joking. I was just checking if you were taking notes. How long after the swim did you feel 100%?
I think I was pretty quick. I'm pretty sure I was about 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
And I really, really wanted to get outside because one of my other mates was swimming.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to watch them coming in. So eventually it was like, well, can I go outside? No, you can't. You have to wait a little bit longer. Can I go outside now? And eventually they let me go out and stand by the fire, which was right outside the medical tent.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to move. I was told I had to stay there.
The fire was cool, eh?
It was very awesome.
Very nice.
And it meant that I could actually watch what was going on because it was just, you know, I'd finished what I'd done, but I wanted to be there to support and see what everybody else was doing, and because we're all in it together. So I was pretty rapt about that.
Did you meet the mayor of St. Bathans in that little pub? No?
Don't think so. I think I heard her speak.
I think he introduced himself to everybody. You might not know
I might not have known that he was the mayor. No.
I think he was maybe the waiter and the mayor or something along those lines. He was doubling up. Anyway, talk to me about so lake swimming, ocean swimming, pool swimming. Which is your favourite? And maybe why?
I love lake swimming in that it's really, really clean and fresh.
Yep.
I prefer Taupo to St. Bathans because you could see so much. You can see so much in the water, and it's such a nice feeling. You get to the end of it, and you actually feel clean when you get out. But you also get to see the reeds and everything like that moving, which I like to be able to see stuff, which at St. Bathans we couldn't see anything. So I get a real kick out of looking underneath the water at what's happening. I love ocean swimming in that it's completely different. No 2 days are actually the same. I think I prefer it when it's not rough, in that my stroke is not the greatest, and I find that when it's rough it's even worse. I'm happy to play in rough water. I'll play all day, but actually swim is another story. I find that I'm better in waves, like actual, like places like the Mount and stuff like that. I'm happy with waves, but chop, I'm a mess, and I don't enjoy that. The pool, I think, has its place.
Yeah.
It's a good training place.
Yeah.
I used it a lot when I was training for the Westpac swim.
Yep.
Because I needed to try and get speed up and
Chopper challenge, 20 kilometres. Yep.
Yeah, improve my my stamina and all that sort of thing. So that was really, really good training there. Whereas when I trained for the ice swim, I cut that and went straight to ocean because I needed the cold water.
And you were also swimming in the dark in the mornings before work and stuff. Yeah, mentally that's quite tough as well.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was absolutely hilarious. I got to swim with some really cool. I got to swim with some really cool people and
crazy people.
We had a lot of laughs because we figured out that the fish are attracted to the lights in your tow float.
Yes.
And so we were fending off fish swimming into us, and squealing in the water is actually audible. We figured that one out, that I can hear. I was swimming with Stacey. I could hear her scream and she could hear me scream, and we both spent all our time afterwards in the change room laughing about it. She got fish swimming in her togs. It was just
You got hit in the face once, eh? Yeah. I was swimming along looking, because I always swim to the left of Jim, and I look at him like this, and he got whacked straight in the face with a fish with a light in the tow float.
Yeah. I couldn't understand it, but then somebody said, they're attracted to light.
Yeah, and I think there's one colour light. What was Cam saying? The red light they are not attracted to. I can't remember. There's one specific colour that apparently isn't as bad as the rest, right? But
I just told Stacey I wasn't going to swim near her because she attracted the fish more than I did. It was like, how am I going near you?
Like her put a light in her tow float.
She did have a light in her tow float. That was the problem. But yeah, her tow float was obviously more attractive than mine.
What colour tow float have you got?
I think I've got my orange. I was using my orange one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to go with pink.
More red, or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Does swimming make you hungry or sleepy, or like how does it change your day? If you don't swim, are you grumpy or happy?
Oh my goodness. Like... So it's very much a mental thing for me.
Yeah.
If I don't swim, I find my whole life's out of balance.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd say I get hungry. It really depends on how long the swim is, on how you feel afterwards. I know, like, do an hour and a half or something like that on a Saturday.
Get the munchies.
You're definitely hanging out for that coffee and stuff. When I'm cold, like the last few times I've got out and I've been quite cold, I felt a bit sick, so I haven't wanted to eat anything. But I'm quite happy to have something hot to drink. But no, I think the big thing is actually just being able to get in the water. I am much better swimming in the morning than I am at night. By the end of the day I'm tired and I don't think I enjoy it as much, and I also find that if I swim at night I don't sleep so well because of the adrenaline.
It takes you a while to wind down.
It takes me a while to wind down, but morning time is fantastic.
What is your... So you're taking a bit of a gap at the moment, right? A little birdie told me that you've been a lazy ass.
No, I have not been a lazy ass. No, I've been very picky. I think I did a lot of stuff last year. Yeah. And right up until last year. And last year I think I mentally, emotionally, financially, you name it, I think I was at my max, and I just needed a break. And I don't think it wasn't so much swimming, I didn't want the pressure of competition.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to swim on my terms, how I wanted, when I wanted, without thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to come in last, or I've got to be faster than this, competing against myself. And I just needed that complete break. So
what does the bucket list look like for the next 10 years?
I love the adventure swims that I'm doing. I've done some absolutely amazing swims in amazing places with completely different people. I've met some people from all over the place who are really just amazing. Yeah. I am thinking, like, I found for the first time this year, I've started to feel like the desire, my goals are starting to come into my head again, which makes me feel that I'm getting to that point where I'm obviously...
Batteries a bit charged up?
Batteries charged up. I'd really, really like to do the chopper swim or the swim from Waiheke to Auckland. When I did it, we couldn't do the actual swim because of the COVID and whatever, and it just wasn't quite the same. So I've got this real drive. Like, I still really want to do it, but it's only this year that it's come into my head. Like, I do still want to do this. So I think that's one thing. I like going around islands. So the whole thing about Rangitoto, going around Rangitoto is...
Well, we know some guys that can maybe help you with that.
Yeah.
So just to go, I like going around islands, right? If you had to reach out to some of your old Zimbo mates and tell them that you like to go around islands, I mean, did you ever think that would be something that you would say, right?
No.
As a young person, I guess, before you immigrated, I mean, completely different lifestyle, right?
No,
we're pretty spoiled here, right?
We really are. We've got incredible scenery, oceans, beaches, you name it. No. You're
going to need to go back, seeing as Zim is so close, right, to South Africa. You're going to have to go back and do a Robben Island.
Yeah.
Because that is an iconic
I would
song.
actually, I saw, I think Sarah did it.
Yes.
And when I was looking at her pictures, I was absolutely green with envy.
Table Mountain in the background. You know, it's a real piece of paradise. Yeah.
I love Cape Town, and yes, I would love to do that. There's some amazing swims around. There really are, and it's quite. I don't know whether I'm becoming more aware of them or whether there's more people doing them. But there's some fantastic places.
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Too much time on Instagram, I reckon, for you. What's the best thing about the swimming community?
I like the fact that there's no real expectation on how you look, how you act, or anything else like that. It's just like everybody is... There's just a complete down-to-earth acceptance with everyone. And I reckon it's because we see each other half naked or with wetsuits on, which are not appealing. And so there's no pretenses.
Yeah.
And I think, even my husband said, it's like swimmers are just all nice people. There are very few, if any, that I know of that are not good people. And even the guys that are not even, that sounds really bad, but I was going to say even the guys that are really, really good, they're probably the most humble of all. Yeah. Some of the kids that I know that swim are just the most incredible human beings, and it's just an amazingly inclusive community. There's a guy that I've swum with quite a few times who swims who doesn't have the use of his legs, and he's the most amazing person. He swims with a snorkel, and just quite happy to, he gets in the water, there's no fuss or anything, someone helps wheel him down there and gets in the water and does his swims, and he does big swims. And one of the swims we did, I had to, or didn't have to, I was trying to be helpful and help him out at the end of it. It was in Goat Island. And I think I just about drowned him. And he still didn't get grumpy or anything like that with me. I didn't realise that his chair actually floated. And I was trying to hold the chair down and help him, so that he could get onto it. And between all of us, the chair was tipping and the dude was tipping, and it was he was amazing. If that was me, I'd probably been completely freaked out. But he was just the nicest kind of person, and I think that's the whole thing. It doesn't matter who you are or what you are. Everybody's part of the community, and you see each other. And I'm a real hugger.
Yes. Wait, did you get your hug when you were here? I got my hug.
And it's people just accept that. You see, you go up and You see your mates, you haven't seen them for a while, you see them at an event or whatever, and you get your hugs, and it's just like, it just fills your jar up. It's a special sport.
Which is kind of different with swimming, because half the time you're getting hugs from people who aren't properly dressed, as you said already.
It's that old joke, right? You're in the supermarket and you see somebody and you go, hey, I don't recognise you with your clothes on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's amazing.
Anything else from your side?
No, this has just been a wonderful chat. We kind of know where you're going forward. It's Have you got any advice that you'd give to somebody who's maybe looking for their next challenge or something like that? Maybe they've just been got into a bit of a rut, or maybe a newbie. Anything that you'd suggest?
I think if it's a complete newbie, I think that the swimming events are amazing. They're really, really special. Swim with groups. The kippers, the fur seals. I think you guys have got one over on the North Shore.
Salty dogs.
There's swim with a group, because that it just helps you be with like-minded people, and that's a really, really special thing. If you are a seasoned swimmer and you're in a rut, sometimes you do need a break.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yep.
But it's a case of, okay, well, choose something afterwards. After a while, give yourself that break, and then choose a different event. And I've really, there's so many different events to do out there, so many different places you can swim, and just go and explore. There's lots and lots to do out there, and there's some incredible swims. And the biggest challenge, I think, for me is wanting to do all of them. And it's like, you can't do all of them.
Don't have enough time in the day.
My husband's got a thing where I say to him, I'll come home from summer and I'll go, I've been talking to so and so, and guess what? He goes, I know, there's another swim. Because there are, and it's something that you can do with your whole family as well. And
does your husband swim?
He swims for fun.
Yep.
He doesn't swim distance.
Yep.
And he is the most supportive person I know. He actually is. Yep. And it's something that, we've done a lot of the swim events together, because he'll say he loves the weekends away. So we'll go somewhere, and it's like, well, we don't just go for the swim. The swim's only a small part of it. It's the rest of it that we can actually enjoy together. So we've explored more by doing the swims. So he doesn't see it as something that's taking me away.
That's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, it is.
That's very cool. Well, Jeannine, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And we will be tracking your progress over the next couple of years. And let's aim to catch up again in 2 years' time and see where you're at and what other adventures you've been on. Yeah,
sounds cool. Awesome.
Keep it up, and you're a legend.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Thanks, Jeannine.
Woohoo.
Well, thanks for listening. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please tell your friends about it, and if you want to give us any feedback, please send it to cleverdixnz@gmail.com. There's also a little link in the show notes where you can send us a text, or you could leave a message on our Instagram account. We would appreciate any feedback, anything we can do to make this a better listening experience for you. Cheers, and we'll see you again soon.